What is going on, everyone? Today we are going to go to Lake Sammamish State Park, where Ted Bundy abducted two women. Her names were Janice Ann Ott and Denise Marie Naslund. I believe that's how you pronounce it. So, on July 14th, 1974, serial killer Ted Bundy abducted Janice and Denise from Lake Sammamish State Park in Issaquah, Washington. That afternoon, Bundy approached Ott, 23 years old, and Naslund, 19, in broad daylight, and asked him to help him unload a sailboat at his parents' house. After striking up a conversation with him, he explained that his arm was injured and that he was unable to unload the boat by himself. He also claimed that his parents' house was just up the hill. The abductions of Ott and Naslund occurred separately, just 4 hours apart. On both occasions, he convinced his victim to get into his Volkswagen Bug and accompany him to his sailboat. In reality, there was no boat, nor did Bundy have a sore arm. At the beginning of the murder spree, Bundy quickly learned that he could prey on young women by taking advantage of their kind and helpful nature. Once his victims got into his car, it is likely that he immediately drove them to a secluded site, Issaquah, where their skeletons remains were discovered roughly 2 months later. Ott was abducted at around 12:30 p.m., 3.5 hours after her abduction. Bundy returned to the lake to look for a second victim. At roughly 4:30 p.m., he approached Naslund by the restroom and successfully employed a similar ruse. Now, I'm going to show you a map of Lake Sammamish State Park. Shows the exact location of Bundy approached Janice, Ott, and Dennis. And it also pinpoints the general area where Bundy's Volkswagen was parked. He approached Ott at 12:30 p.m. while she was sunbathing on the beach. Then 4 hours later, he lured Naslund away from the restroom by the parking lot. Now, I believe that restroom that I went to is where he abducted Naslund. Okay, so let's go to the park and see if we can find some of the old buildings. Maybe we can see the restroom there. I don't know. This is it, guys. So you have to get a ticket, I guess. It's annual. So sold here, annual pass $30. So let's go see what it looks like. Oops. So I got the annual pass, $30, so I can go any park, right? It's like going into a drive-thru or something, like in the drive-ins, you know, remember? We are just going to take a drive. I don't know if this was the part where he drove in. I mean, they even got the old, you know, parking blocks, you know. Those look like they're original. From the 70s. When did it happen? It's really hard to tell. I mean, the internet don't work out here. You're in the forest. So we're just gonna take a drive, because it's a pretty big park. But you can tell some of those old parking lots, you know, you see them? The curves. The white curves. Whoa. But they made several movies about him. There's a restroom that looks exactly like on the movie. I think it's a lot different today than it was back in the 70s and 80s. You know, back in the 70s, 80s, parks were full, you know, because they didn't have internet, they didn't have phone, nothing. So people would just come out and have a good time. But I'm sure that it's not like that today. I don't think the parks are full like back in the day, you know. Remember when I was growing up, that's how the parks were. They were just packed with people. You'd be lucky to see a few people nowadays. Everybody's got a cell phone. And I'm sure they didn't have a state park pass back then, you know. But you see the old benches? They're probably the original. They probably not even used anymore, you know. What I wanted to show you, see how this is, what it looks like, guys. The old restaurant. The bathroom looks like. What I wanted to show you, see how this is, what it looks like, guys. The old restaurant. So, I'm sure it was the first entrance. This park is a lot smaller than I imagined. I thought it was going to be a lot bigger. So he must have parked like right here, huh? Like right there on the left. And I want to show you some photos I found. That's pretty creepy though. Imagine going to a park and next thing you know, a serial killer approaches you, you know what I mean? Next thing you know, you're gone. You don't know, I mean, now you see it everywhere, but this is the park. And I mentioned before, I don't think it gets packed like that, you know, like back then. There's really nothing to do, you know? So, people would come out to the park and have fun. And they have all those curbs that were full at one time. And now they're empty. It's just amazing how life is, you know. I think back then people were a lot happier back in the day when they didn't have cell phones.